Hey, everybody. We are in front of the mic with the Beyond the Books podcast brought to you by accountingdepartment.com. I'm your host, Kevin Dry, and today we're joined by Stephanie of ADC over from our marketing and sales department. Hey, Stephanie, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
All right. Yeah, very happy to have you. Excited to have you on the show here. And so you're here for our Military Spouse Employment Partnership, MSEP episode, shedding some light on, your experience as a military spouse working here, giving us a little peek into that world, and great for us civilians to, look into that and understand that better, and what it's like being a military spouse and also working here at ADC. But yeah, we love working with our military families. Very thankful for everything that you guys do. So thank you so much for, not only the sacrifices that military makes, but also the military families. There are times where, you know, I don't know, deployment and, just those long days and everything. And, we really appreciate everything that you guys do for us in our country and everything. So thank you.
Oh, of
Um,
course. Thank you for your support.
yeah, definitely. So accountingdepartment.com, just to kind of backtrack a little bit, our family is proud of its vibrant cast of characters. We span the country with our different team members. We come from all sorts of different backgrounds, different personalities. We're more than just accountants. So we have a lot to offer in addition to great accounting services. I must say we are the best out there, but on top of that, great personalities, great people to work with. And among our team are some of those amazing military spouses whose hard work, dedication, and contributions are part of what makes us and our family so strong, and theirs as well. Typically, we start these off with like a tell us about yourself or something like that. So, if Stephanie, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, your role here at ADC, and how long you've been with the company, and things like that.
Sure. Yep. So again, my name is Stephanie. I've been with accountingdepartment.com almost for 3 years. I can't believe it. Almost 3 years now. I'm a proud Floridian, miss home very much. Have worked in sales and marketing pretty much since I could walk and talk. I love it. Um, I'm a proud, obviously, military spouse, but I'm a proud mom of two very active kiddos that are always have us somewhere doing something at some time. So I'm just kind of all over the place. You never know where I'm going to be.
Nice, very cool. Yeah, sort of one of those dual roles where you get to do a bit of everything. We love what you do here. So a quick overview of what MSEP is. And Steph's the real expert here, so we're going to defer to her quite a bit on this. But from what I understand, the Military Spouse Employment Partnership is something that connects military spouses with hundreds of partner employers who, have committed to recruiting, hiring, promoting, and retaining military spouses. ADC is a proud partner of this organization, and we've actually gotten a lot of great employees here on that team or from that network. And that are military spouses. So I guess what's your experience with MSEP or even just the military spouse network, and how you got here to ADC?
So I heard about accountingdepartment.com from another military spouse that works here through the MSEP program. She had shared about the position online, which again through the MSEP and through herself. And I was like, this is perfect. Being a military spouse, you never know where you're going to be. And we had heard at that time, we were at the time stationed in Florida, and we heard we might be stationed in Washington State, which is across the country.
Kind of a
So
commute.
finding
Yeah.
a little bit of a commute, yeah, just a little bit of a 5-day drive. Um, so when we were looking to move, I was like, I have to switch careers. Unfortunately, it was right around the time of COVID. And unfortunately, I'd lost my position that I was with before because of everything going on, which was, a bummer. But then, when one door shuts, a bigger, better door opens. And I found out about this position and I was like, this is perfect. And then applied, and here I
Yeah.
am today.
Yeah, yeah. So we know you juggle a lot of different things, here at work, but we're very family first here. So being a
Oh.
mother, probably the hardest job on the planet. I couldn't do it. But but what's it like? I guess being a military spouse mom versus being a military spouse mom here with a virtual career on top of it.
So, like I said, I worked in sales and marketing my whole life. I'd worked for one company for roughly 13 to 15 years. I forget. It was so long, I forgot how long I was there. And I worked my way up. So I had been there starting at the bottom, worked my way all the way up. So when everything happened and I had to switch companies and positions and stuff, it was very nerve-wracking to go into somewhere new and going into somewhere where I don't know where I'm going to be in 2 years. I don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years. I could be in, Washington State here. So there were all those nerves surrounded around it that I'm going to have to stay at the same place and I can't grow, which is something I really wanted to do. Um, so when I applied at accountingdepartment.com, it was one thing. My family comes first. Like
Yeah.
my husband, my children, they come before everything. So I was actually very bold in my interview and I said, just to let you know, my family comes first before everything else. And I'll never forget speaking to Bill and he was like, as they should. And I was
We
just like,
agree. Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, it took me off guard because I
Yeah.
hadn't had that from former employers. So I shared with him, my day to day. There could be times when Joe is out of the country, out of the state, could be for a week, 2 weeks, could be for months. I don't know. And I have to kind of pick up the weight from both, do all these drop offs. And he was very open about you leave when you need to leave. You are here when you can be here. If something pops up, then you go. I remember a time when I found out that Joe was leaving in a day. Like I was like, hey, he's leaving tomorrow. Can I step
Oh,
away for the rest of the day with him? And he's like, go now,
yeah.
like go. And
Yeah.
that I had never had before. So to have that, I was like, oh my gosh. And I got to spend that time with Joe before he had to go somewhere. And then, like I said, with two very active children, with soccer practice, swim practice, choir practice, drama practice, there's all these pickup times. So
Mhm.
having that flexibility to be a present mother, not just be a mother, but be a present mother that is not missing things, that's there for them, while also being able to have a career and not just a job, but have a career that I love and I'm proud of and I'm passionate about. I really didn't think that was going to be possible. I was like, I can't have both. Speaking to so many military spouses, you hear, oh, we're here for 2 years and I work at this store, or I'm here for 2 years and I work in the front of the school, and then I got to leave and do it all over again. And then I got to leave and do it over again. And I speak to so many spouses regularly because I volunteer with the command here.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that they're most nervous about is we just got here and I'm struggling to find a position. I'm struggling to find a job to contribute to my family, to have something for myself. So when this opportunity presented itself and I learned more from another military spouse that's here, um, I was so excited. But like I said, I went into that interview and was like, this is our life. This is how
Yeah.
the days go. And to be told your family should come first was my mommy heart, my wife heart was very happy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Good. Good. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the thing I remember. I don't know, kind of similarly. I guess it was like maybe, years ago before I had kids and everything. That was something I was always worried about was, and this was before I worked here. I've been here for over the last couple of years, but yeah, that was something that I was always worried about. Like, oh no, what if I have kids and they get sick? Am I gonna work
Yeah.
for a good company that's gonna, I don't know, work with drop off times and things like
Mhm.
that. And, it's good to hear from, just from a human perspective. Like I have a 2-year-old knowing that, you said your kid's a little older, like knowing that that's there, gives me some
Oh,
comfort as a young parent.
oh my
So
gosh, and not every
yeah.
employer is like that. They're
No,
just
yeah,
not, unfortunately, like it's like in my when I was, in my career the younger age, before I had children and after I had my daughter, she's my first, it was constantly working, the nine
yeah,
to five, really 8 to 6, and struggling to get to school and having to do apps and struggling to get her to practice and just all those things. And just there wasn't I wasn't present and it hurt. And
yeah.
I felt bad as a mom, but I had to work, I had to make ends meet.
It's
And
like you had to
I
pick
wanted
one or the other, and now you can have
on
both.
days,
Yeah,
yeah, on days you had to pick one or the other. And that is such a hard choice to have to make. And thankfully I never have to make that again
yeah,
because I'm not
yeah. It's
going anywhere.
great. Yeah, awesome. So also, we do hire a lot of military spouses. Are you in touch with the MSEP internal group? Or I guess how is that as a support system with other military spouses within the company? Do you guys have like an internal chat on our Zoom room or a Facebook page or something different, or how you guys usually stay in touch?
So we have in our Zoom room or in our Zoom chat, we do have a military spouses chat group,
Good.
which is really fantastic because if there's a tip or trick, because we're all over the place.
Mhm.
I was in Pensacola and the woman that referred me was, I believe, in Idaho, maybe,
Mhm.
and now she's somewhere south, and then
Yeah.
another one is in Georgia, and so we're all over the place,
Yeah.
but when we find a tip or a trick, especially depending what branch we're in, because not all of us are the same
Yeah.
branch. We're Navy, um, and I believe the team member that referred me, I believe she's Air Force.
Okay.
Um, so we're learning tips and tricks from different places. So we can drop into this group chat and say, hey, did you hear about this? This is going to be delayed. Or did you hear about maybe it's something with our, military insurance with TRICARE? Did you hear about this? Hey, this is going to roll out in a month. I found out about it from our command if you haven't heard yet.
Yeah.
Hey, if this is delayed with your account through the through pay through your spouse's pay, this is going to happen, or all those things that pop up
Yeah.
very regularly. We kind of like have each other's back, and that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I've found with being a military spouse is that we are all there to support each other, no matter how big or how small it is. um, so yeah, we have that kind of group chat going on, which is very nice, and then we kind of share our good stories and our horror stories, whether it's, hey, we're getting ready to move, make that move again.
Mhm.
Anybody have any new tricks from the last time we moved? So that's really nice too, because
Yeah.
everything changes daily in
Yeah,
this life.
yeah, exactly. Okay. And you had mentioned a move. I believe now you've moved since your time here at ADC, you've made a move from, was it Florida to Washington?
Florida, Washington State. Everyone
Okay.
thinks it's
That's a big
Washington,
one.
D.C., and I have to make sure that I remind people, no, it's Washington State.
Yeah,
And when we
the
tell
far
people
away one.
the faraway one, so when people ask, well, where, some people are even like, where is that? I was like, it's all the way in the top left, all the way in the corner near Canada. We're actually
Yeah.
closer to Canada than we are to the biggest city in the
Okay.
US. Yeah. So
Wow. Yeah. So you moved around the country, literally across country, while keeping your job. What was that experience like? And I believe you have just a story about, even living in like between housing, like hotel for 3 months, and
yeah.
how did that work while working at ADC?
So when you move, it's called a PCS, permanent change of station, moving,
Hmm.
and that could be, could be anywhere. And you have a few months to prepare. Sometimes orders can change the last second, but we had several months to prepare, so that was nice. They'll come and grab your stuff roughly a month before. So they'll come and pack up your entire house and go ahead and start making that trek across the country. So you only have a limited amount of things. Well, if I was blessed, I could keep all of my work items and I was fine there. I worked on a fold out table actually
Okay.
in a house for in the house for a while, but I had all my work stuff, so it was great.
Yeah.
And I was so blessed because I literally unplugged the morning of, or I'm sorry, the morning before. So I worked the day before we moved and I unplugged. And then we were gone the next day. With a lot of places, it would be like, oh, I got to say my goodbyes and I'm done and pack everything up and you're gone. This was just, okay, I'm taking a few days off. I'll see y'all on the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
So packed, unplugged, packed everything up. We made the trek across the country. I think we ended up, you can only drive a certain amount of hours each day. So I think we ended up stopping 4 or 5 times to stay overnight. Um, the blessing though was I got to see areas I probably would have never seen before, and
Yeah.
our country is gorgeous. If you've never traveled
Mhm.
across the country, I highly recommend doing it because it was gorgeous. Maybe not in this way though. Um, so yeah, we pulled into Washington State the whole trip and got a flat tire, and my husband's wallet was stolen on our last day of driving. So that was always fun. But yeah, so we pulled in and our housing wasn't ready yet. So we stayed at the Navy Lodge, which is a hotel on base. So we pulled in the Sunday before Labor Day,
Mhm.
and our kids started school the next week. So we were blessed there. So we called housing that week and they're like, well, your housing is still not ready. And I was fine though, because I had all my work stuff and I just plugged in right
There
at the
you go.
hotel. So we were there for about a week. Then we had to move rooms, just unplugged, plugged back in. And our little stay in the hotel ended up being 3 months
Oh,
in the Navy
yeah.
Lodge.
Worst week
Um,
ever. Yeah.
well, yeah, very long week, worst week ever, yes. But you make the best of it. We
Yeah.
decorated our room. We were there on the holidays, so we decorated the
There you go.
room for Halloween. We were probably there with, I would say, 90 to 95% of the hotel were people waiting for housing.
Okay.
So we ended up creating a little community and we did boo
Yeah.
baskets and stuff. So it was,
Good.
it was an adventure. But yeah, we lived in the Navy Lodge for 3 months and we were very lucky that we moved over the weekend. So I unplugged on Friday, moved over, and was back to work on Monday. I
There
mean,
you go.
that, I mean, there was absolutely no stress, which
Yeah.
is unheard of when moving across the country. Um, I didn't have to worry about my job. I had a job moving across the country. Everything's fine. Everyone was so supportive, checking on us as we were moving, checking on us when we got there. Do you need more time? Take as much time as you need. Do you want to, take a few days off before you go? Do you take as much as you need? I'm like, no, we're good. Like it's
Oh,
fine.
that's good.
And yeah, the obviously with this life, it can be very stressful. I had no stress, no
Good.
stress, except for the flat tire, maybe.
Yeah.
But even staying in the lodge, it stunk not being in the house. It stunk not having all of our stuff. Um, but regarding work, I had absolutely not one lick of stress. And to say that's a blessing is an understatement. I
Yeah.
count my blessings every day for that. Um, so yeah, it was fun. It was fun time.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I've been recruiting for about 9 years now, and one thing, I don't know, job seekers, nobody wants to be on a job search. It's not fun. It's something that you don't look forward to, no matter what position you're in, because ultimately you're just trying to obtain that position, and a lot of times whenever you move, you have to go through something like that, and that adds a whole layer of stress on top of the move. So it's I think it definitely helps. It's, I know it's definitely a recruiting tool that I use. Like, hey, if you're ever thinking about relocating or you have plans to move in the future, military spouse or military family, or civilian, or either way, like it definitely helps, not having to worry about that. But military families do get restationed every few years, depending. And that's just one big less piece of stress that you have to worry about. So
I
so
I
that's
could
good.
never, I could, and our Bill and Dennis, who are the most amazing guys in the world, they've created a true family at ADC. I've told them this job and it's not just a job, like this isn't a job, this is fun, this is my career, I love this. It's been life saving, life changing, not just for me, not just for my husband, but for my children. Like for a 5-year old to tell you, I love your job, mommy,
Yeah.
that's pretty big. And the
Right.
14-year-old to say, I love that you're here for this and you're not going to miss this. And I don't have to worry. Like she used to feel bad about saying, can you miss work to come do this? Now she knows that I can do that with no stress. So I've told Bill and Dennis, you're never getting rid of me. I'm going to be here until I retire, which is a long time away. But this family that we have here, this position, this job has been life saving, life changing. I could go on for many hours, but the podcast is not that long today. And then to have people that understand, not just the military spouses that are at ADC, but to have our community be so open to hearing about our life, because, like I said, every day is different. Whenever my husband calls during the workday, I'm like, "What's going on? Like, what's happening today?"
Yeah.
You,
What's the
everything
update?
could,
Yeah.
yeah, everything could change. We had a spouse here that was supposed to be, or a family here that was supposed to be here for 4 years. They left it too. Um, we had a family that was here, or they told us they were supposed to only be here for 3. They were here for 17. So you never know what's going to happen. And to be at a place where you feel safe, to go to your bosses and to say, hey, I really need to take off tomorrow. I know that I don't have that I you know that I don't have it off and I have these meetings, but I need to step away because I need to be here for this. Okay. To be able
Yeah.
to not have that stress level of going into that conversation, I
Yeah.
mean, it's almost unheard of nowadays in the work field. So, um, yeah, I feel so blessed to
Good.
be here.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah, that's great to hear. And also, so I know you had mentioned working with some military-based organizations, as well, out, the so a couple of them would be I guess your involvement in the Navy Ombudsman program and the ADC Cares opportunities to allow time taken off for these efforts. So I guess what's your involvement like with Navy Ombudsman? And I haven't heard of that before. So what is it?
You know what? I didn't hear about it before until I was a Navy spouse, so it was new to me too. So I love to volunteer. I love to give back, but I've sometimes didn't have the time, and if I wanted to, it took away time from the kids and family. So when I came here, it was shared with me about ADC Cares, about how, hey, we have this program where you get these hours, and we want you to go out during the day, and we want you to volunteer and be a part of your community. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So my family is rooted in the military, and I think I shared earlier, I wear my husband, my father, and my grandfather's dog tags. Um, so I've always grown up around it. So when I became a Navy spouse, it was introduced to me. It was like, hey, so there's a Navy ombudsman. And I was like, what's an ombudsman? I've never heard that word before. And so basically what they are is a liaison between the command, so wherever your husband is or your spouse is stationed, and the families, for any and all questions that you may have. So that could
Nice.
be anything. So when the opportunity came, when we moved here, there was an opportunity to be the ombudsman for our command, we're the NIOC command. So we're stationed at NAS Whidbey Island, or NASWE, but we are the NIOC command. I'm still learning the lingo. I'll
Yeah.
always be learning the lingo. So that's our lingo. So I'm the Navy ombudsman for the NIOC command here. So it's a complete volunteer position. We do training. You have to go through about 40 to 50 hours of training before you can be signed on as the ombudsman. You are appointed by your commanding officer, and we do all sorts of things. So when about 4 or 5 times a year, we'll meet with any new sailors that have been stationed here within that time. I'll share with them who I am, what I can do to help. And that could be as much as, hey, if you're going to deploy and your spouse can't get a hold of you, and she's having an issue with TRICARE, or she's having an issue getting the children into the schooling, or they're having an issue with whatever it may be, they call me. They call
Yeah.
me. I have this big pocket of resources that we've been trained on. And I share with them, hey, you're going to want to go to Fleet and Family. You're going to want to go call this number because they're going to help you with this. I just found out, you know what? There's a situation. I need to get to my husband. Someone has passed away. Okay, we're going to connect you with the Red Cross, and they're going to reach out to your spouse on the ship, and we're going to get them back home for you, or whatever the situation may
Yeah.
be. So I always joke, my husband and I are big advocates for mental health awareness. So I said it could be anywhere from trying to find, if you have allergies, finding gluten-free breadcrumbs, to
Mhm.
anything, with your health. I am all into the spectrum, and they know that they can call me really 24/7 because everything
Yeah.
changes. And we'll just kind of be their ally
Yeah.
and it could be the spouse. There's not just, there's not just, there's not just married couples here. There's also single
Yeah.
sailors, and they may be on their own, so they can call me as well, or their mother who may be across the country. Her son is deployed. She's worried. I can't get a hold of my son. I don't know what's going on. So then they have my number to reach out to me so I can help them, even if we're in Washington. If she's in Maryland, she can call me and I'll help her as well. So I'm all over the place. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to say I'm the liaison, but I'm also like the cheerleader, like, hey, I got you. You can do
Yeah.
this.
No, that's
Um,
great. I think
oh,
that's
it's
very necessary. I think it's such an important position. Thanks for telling us more about it. That's awesome.
Oh, it's a lot of it
Yeah.
can, it's a lie. My mind was blown when I went through my training. I was like, I was like, I never knew these resources were here.
Yeah.
And even my husband, he's been in about 18 years now. He didn't even know. I was like, oh, I didn't even know about that. And I was like,
Yeah.
who knew? So it's
Good
been very
stuff.
eye-opening. Yeah, it's been really great to be a part of. And to have the opportunity to be a part of it has been amazing. I feel so blessed to be able to give back to those that serve for us. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Sure, your number. Well, I mean, everybody has cell phones now, but I'm sure your number's probably on a lot of fridges. So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, just one of those go-to numbers that sometimes you
They
just need. Yeah.
they know the ombudsman. I make my husband bring in a baked good every now and again. So they know
Hmm.
they can't run away from him
Okay.
like it. But
There
I
you
have to
go.
make sure they know that I'm there. Like, hey, if you need me, I'm here. Don't be afraid to reach out. I'll help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been
Perfect.
really, yeah, they know how to get a hold of me. They look for chief's wife. My husband's a chief in the Navy, so they know to look for the chief's wife.
All right. Very cool. So, yeah, thanks for sharing that. And so this pretty much concludes the our episode 5 of the Beyond the Books podcast, brought to you by ADC accountingdepartment.com. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us today.
Thanks for having
It's
me. It's
been
been a blast.
wonderful. Yeah, it's been wonderful having you on here. I know I've learned a lot. I hope everybody else has too. And that's really what this podcast is about, is, educating people on things ADC related, things even outside of ADC. Like I learned what an ombudsman was today. And it's how important of a position that is. And are those, now before we wrap up, I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah. No,
backtracking,
you're
but
fine.
are ombudsmen at all different Navy bases, or just select
So,
few?
so I'm going to teach you something new. We are not on a base. So every
Oh
branch
wow,
is
okay.
on a different thing. So we are an
Okay.
installation. So Navy
Yeah.
is installation, Air
Okay.
Force is base, and Army is fort. That was
Okay.
a new one
Yep.
I learned
All
recently.
right.
I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't know. So
All right.
installation. So that's my little.
Installation.
I know, who knew? Because we're NASWE, so Naval Air Station would be island. Yeah, so we're a
Okay.
station. So
Cool.
they're all installations, but Navy is station. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that.
Yeah.
So we are, yeah, we're all over, but so we're at every station, but we're also there are ombudsmen for ships. So we
Okay.
had someone recently who was stationed overseas on a ship, but their ombudsman was located. Obviously, they can't be on the ship with their spouse, so they were located back in the States. Or there could be one called OCONUS, which is outside the continental United States. So there's CONUS, which is continental United States, and OCONUS, which is outside the continental United States. So if they're stationed in Japan or Italy or Greece, wherever they may be, there is an ombudsman there as well. So they'll either be overseas at those installations, they'll be in the States at the installations here, or they'll be in the States but be representing for the ship, or so it could be destroyer or carrier, whatever it may be, that's out to sea. So we're kind of all over the place. And there's sometimes
Nice.
there's multiple ombudsmen per command. So like we're NASWE, so there's the station ombudsman, but then there's an ombudsman for each command. So we're the one that, like I said, we're NASWE, but there are, I think, a dozen to 15 commands at NASWE. So there could be an ombudsman or two for each of those commands. So at our station, there could be roughly, say, 15 to 20. So
Wow.
even if, something happens and their ombudsman is out of commission for some reason, and they need a resource or some help, like we share a building with another command, that command knows that they can reach out to the NIOC ombudsman to assist while their ombudsman is unavailable. So we're kind
Okay.
of, even though there's one for the command, they kind of get a whole cheerleading team of
Good. Yeah.
ombudsman at the installation.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, I just had that last question
Oh
because
yeah,
it's a whole new thing that I'm learning. So,
it's a whole
all right. Well,
vocabulary. You learn
yeah.
a brand new
Yeah.
vocabulary.
Yeah, very good stuff. Well, that's why you're the expert. So anyway, well, we really appreciate your time today and joining us on the Beyond the Books podcast. Thank you again, and for sharing insight on what it's like being a military spouse here and working here at ADC. Again, I'm Kevin Dry. That's Stephanie, and we will ADC you later.